Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast covering all things Ipswich Town since 2015. My name is Mikey Smith. This is a live reaction show after Ipswich Town 2, Lincoln City 0. And joining me for this is Mr. 0-0 himself, Seb Brown. How are you, mate?
Hello, mate. I'm good, thank you. The curse has finally been lifted, thankfully.
The curse has been lifted, but at what cost, though? A 2-0 win, but two of our star men going down injured.
Yeah, it's left a bit of a bitter taste, hasn't it? I guess, the first half was so comfortable. We looked so good knocking the ball around. And then, the three players you probably didn't want to have to be injury doubts going into three huge games. You would pick Edmondson, Morsey and Burns, wouldn't you? I guess the good news is none of them were stretched off or anything. Morsey seemed okay. Burns, if there's any doubts, I'm assuming Burns would have been told to get off the pitch and we play out the last 5-10 minutes with 10 men. And he came back on and he looked okay, had a few touches, didn't he? But I guess Edmondson's the one, isn't it? You put it in our WhatsApp group saying you thought that looked like a bad one. He kind of went up for the corner and came down on his own ankle. Look, he jarred it or rolled it maybe.
It looked like his ankle got stuck in the turf, which is never good. Charlie D says, what a weird and worrying second half. It was really deflating, wasn't it, the second half? And not just because we didn't score or create many chances. We played perfectly well, but just those injuries, because it really does feel like if we're going to have any chance, we need Edmondson and Morsey out on the pitch.
Absolutely, and with the three games we've got coming up, Portsmouth at the weekend, Oxford away, and Plymouth. They are three of the top players. They're probably three of the players in the running for the Player of the Year categories. They've all been absolutely excellent, especially since McKenna took over, and hopefully all three will be available. Although Edmondson looked like the dodgy one. I guess Burgess did okay when he came on. Obviously, he's not going to offer you the same ball playing ability that Edmondson does in terms of bringing the ball forward and linking the play with the midfield. He did okay when he came on, but to lose all three would be a hell of a blow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. David Hughes, hopefully Seb's tried to answer your question there. Obviously, we don't know if McKenna sheds any light on it in the post-match quotes. Please do keep us updated, because obviously we're here on YouTube. We can't tune in. Alex Jenkins, though, we did win 2-0 tonight. He says Town are going up. It was a really good first half, wasn't it, Seb?
It was, yeah, and important to win tonight because all the results, Sunderland got 2 late goals and picked up points, and Plymouth picked up points again. So it was a night where, we had to get a win under our belts. And I thought we were really, really slick in the first half, playing really, really well. We'll come on to, star performers and stuff. I thought Aluko was absolutely different class tonight. Some of the close control and the touches were absolutely superb. Knocked the ball around lovely. And yeah, it was a really, really top class performance. It was the same as the last 3 games, wasn't it? Dominating the ball, yep. Lovely passages of play. And in these last 2 games, Fleetwood at the weekend and tonight, we finally managed to add some goals to it.
Absolutely. You mentioned Aluko there. Let's get into the Ipswich team. It looks like this. So yeah, Aluko came in for. Who did Aluko come in for?
Came in for Chaplin, didn't he? Yeah, and or Piggott, yeah, because you had Morsey drop back and Backinson come along field alongside Morsey. So I was surprised Piggott was left out. I was at Fleetwood. I thought he played well with his hold-up play, and McKenna was very praising after the game. So I felt a little bit harsh for him being dropped to the bench. But Jackson having scored at the weekend, and when you've got players of the class of Aluko, and Salina now looks like he's really starting to purr. So you can't really argue with the replacements, can you? And it was noticeable. It was two number 10s, wasn't it, behind Jackson rather than the 3-4-3. It's kind of become a sort of a 3-4-2-1 in recent weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And yeah, just on the subs bench, Bon, Piggott and Norwood.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
I think Craig commented that we probably didn't need all 3 of them. Maybe Vincent Young should have been on the bench, but as it turned out, we didn't use any of them.
No, surprising, wasn't it? Yeah, like Craig said, there's no cover there with other. You think one of Penny or Vincent Young would be on the bench just to give you, an option. And yeah, like you say, we didn't end up using any of the 3 main strikers, did we?
No. Let's just have a quick look at the Lincoln team. Did you see it as a 3-5-2?
Yeah, kind of.
I matched this up.
Yeah, I was surprised Maguire seemed to play really deep. I know him from his time at Sunderland when he was not necessarily an out-and-out striker, but he'd kind of play in the left forward role or the number 10 role. So he was noticeably playing rather deep. And yeah, I mean, I thought they were a poor side. They didn't really offer anything at all, did they? I thought it was interesting they had no keeper on the bench. Their keeper got injured in the last minute at the weekend against Sheffield Wednesday. So they threw the young lad in who had a couple of dicey moments. And I don't think they had a keeper on the bench.
No. Very, very strange, that one. Good spot. We'll just dip back into the comments. We're playing catch up a little bit because we started a little bit late. We won't go into the details of that, Seb. Jack Lloyd, hoping for the best. We need them two fighting fit. Very, very true. Charlie
Massively,
D,
yeah.
nervous few days now until Saturday. Yeah, very, very much so. Big game on Saturday, isn't it?
Massive. I mean, they won again tonight. They won 3-1, didn't they? So they are right closing us down, breathing down our necks. And if we can, finally get this magical 3 wins on the bounce, which we've never been able to do all season, and just keep them at arm's length, that'll be a hell of a result. But we're going to need those top players on the pitch.
Indeed we are. And we just mentioned it before we went live. It's tempting to say, this is the typical Ipswich. But actually, as Lee Renshaw rightly points out, we've been lucky with injuries recently, haven't we? But
we have, yeah.
They've come at the worst possible time, arguably.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I guess we're kind of in reaction mode, aren't we? We don't know how bad these things are going to be. Fingers crossed they'll all be okay. But yeah, I mean, the performance team that Ashton's brought in seems to have been doing well with all the classifications of red players and amber players, etc. I think other players have admitted in the past under previous regimes they were rushed back too early, which then led to further injury breakdowns. And this season, touch wood, up until tonight, we've been okay. Burns obviously missed that section at the back end of last year, November, December time, which I guess had a big impact on Cook's last few games here. But apart from that, we've been able to pick a pretty consistent and strong 11 for the whole season. So it's just sod's law a little bit that injuries would start to happen right as we go into this crucial run of games.
Absolutely. Lee Renshaw commenting on us going on a little bit late. Bet Mikey's doing his hair.
No comment.
Yeah, no comment. Do I even read this one out, Seb? Probably not. Right, Blue, clean sheet felt like a moral victory after the victories. Fingers crossed for Fridge and Morsey. We'll get into the match action in a bit, but we looked really solid at the back again, didn't we?
We do every game. We do, don't we? It's just the norm now. Is that what's that? 2 goals conceded in 10 games. Sheffield Wednesday away and Morecambe away. We are so solid. They're going to be on their way to setting another record soon for clean sheets again. It's just an area of the team you haven't got to worry about. It's the 15th, I think they said, 15th consecutive game that it's been Donassi and Wolfenden and Edmondson at the back 3. And yeah, we just, we look so solid in defence, and you're never worried anymore, are you? Even when you come up against teams of class and quality, you're not overly concerned that we're going to be shipping goals, which is such a contrast to the first 4 or 5 months of the season when it was all to pot. I know we were playing a different formation, but it was all to pot, and we'd be thinking we're going to have to score 3 goals today to guarantee ourselves a win. At the time, we've struggled to score goals up front. The defence are doing their job, which means we can just start to nick games here and there.
Absolutely. Andreas Christiansen, I think he's watching us over in Norway. Michael Warner, good morning all from Brisbane. Good win. Wolfie holding the back of his leg didn't look good. No, it didn't. I'm hoping that he carried on because he's fine rather than because we already had a centre-back go off. It is a worry. Daryl Hughes, next 3 games probably define our season, so we need all of those players fit.
Massively.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the 3 games coming up are crazy, aren't they? If we could get 7 points, let's say, from these 3 games, if you can beat Portsmouth on the weekend, get a solid point away to Oxford, and then follow up with a win against Plymouth, then we're going to be right in the mix, aren't we?
Definitely. Just looking for a positive one before we go into the match action. Chris Horn, is it time to have a Luco get a new contract and get that thing extended? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
What performance tonight?
he's so classy. I mean, he was the surprise of the front three. You know, I didn't think he would come in tonight. I thought Pickett would get a chance again. I didn't really see Chaplin dropping out because he contributed via his set pieces against Fleetwood. But Aluko was so good. That bit of skill in the first half on the touchline, you know, in front of McKenna, where he just takes the ball. It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was Barkett era Ronaldinho at times, wasn't
it? Yeah, obviously he's played at the higher level and he's an absolute class player. So I think we've got an option in the contract. It was a 1-year deal with an option, so surely that will get triggered because you know he's been superb and he's probably the most surprising of the signings. When we took him, he didn't really fit in with the rest of the signings of the summer, did we? He was older. We were going for the sort of, you know, the younger players, I guess we could look to develop and then sell on. And, you know, the poor guy came in against Newport and got written off by a fair few people because he clearly wasn't fit in that game.
Yeah.
But, you know, since he's come into the side, he's just so good. His close control, his touch, his awareness. He's got a bit of pace about him as well. I noticed tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I've never really seen that side of the game, but no, he's no slouch. He can put himself about. And, top class player.
Fantastic player. So yeah, let's get into the match action. I actually thought Lincoln looked decent early on. After great play from Aluko, played into Nassien, whose cross was hit over the top by Burns. That was in, I think it was almost the first 2 minutes. So another quick start from us. Wolfenden had a great run forward. He did that a couple of times tonight. Ends with his cutback being cleared to Aluko, hits a shot on the turn, which is blocked. Jackson's then fouled as Aluko tries to play him in. And the linesman gives an offside. I whizzed it back to check, and that one was definitely onside. But moments later, Seb, he's onside again and providing an assist.
And it's what he does so well, isn't it? When he runs those channels, you know, he's so quick. You're not going to catch him. He gets him behind, down there left, pulls the ball back, and obviously Burns is there to fire it home. And I think Jackson went and made that. Everyone seemed to celebrate, and Jackson was going over to the linesman, wasn't he? Continuing the offside argument from a few minutes before, a bit of finger pointing. But yeah, you know, we've seen that goal. Getting in behind teams now down the flanks and pulling the ball back for players running into the area is clearly something they must work on in training, because we seem to be doing it, you know, almost every single game now. And you know, when that went in, you're thinking, brilliant, here we go.
Definitely. And then weirdly, there was another ridiculous decision from the referee linesman that stopped us in our tracks with Danassian in a great position down our right. And again, we get frustrated with the officials, but again, we score a goal.
Yeah, strange, wasn't it? You know, Danassian's in and they pull it back. They don't get the advantage and pull it back, and we're all thinking, right, brilliant. And then Burns, you know, on the second phase after the free kick, he's just, when he's running like that, he's so direct and powerful, and he just shrugs off the defender, pulls it back. Morsey, I thought, would put his foot through it. I was quite surprised. I don't know if he scuffed it. I've not seen it back. But it looked to me like a bit of a measured pass. And thankfully, they've got a player down who's playing Jackson onside, because for all the world, he looks like he's offside. Taps it home, 2-0. And yeah, happy days. Great.
Yeah, it was marginal, that one. I think it may have been offside, but maybe the linesman didn't fancy putting a flag up against Jackson again after the stick he'd just given him. Before the end of the half, Salini gets himself into a spot of bother. Quite a physical side, aren't they, Lincoln? Or they were
quite dirty, weren't they?
Tonight.
Yeah, I don't remember that from previous games against them in this league, being overly dirty and stuff. You know, I remember Tyler Walker a few years ago playing for them, looked to wind up the North Stand and stuff, but obviously he's moved on. And I don't remember that side. Maybe it's a consequence of where they are in the league, but there were a few nasty challenges. And I think Maguire got himself booked for mouthing off to the ref and stuff. But yeah, Selena, it was a bad challenge on him, but he gets up, you know, paces over to the guy, and he kind of puts his arms up into his chest a little bit. But thankfully the ref saw common sense and just booked them both, didn't he?
He did indeed. And as we mentioned, Aluko had a ridiculous first half and probably should have scored his first Portman Road goal early in the second. In the 56th minute, he fired over with his right foot after another mazy run. Then Edmondson went down. The night started to turn sour at this point. Nasty looking ankle injury that we'd already talked about. Landed awkwardly after a corner. Tried to come back on, as you mentioned, and then went down. And yeah, that looks a nasty one. Cameron Burgess, though, at least he is suited to the left-sided centre-back of a three. That's probably his best position, isn't it?
That's what he's
overall.
played at Accrington, wasn't it, before he joined us? So he knows the role. He's not going to give you what Edmondson does in terms of bringing the ball out and stuff, but he is he's a clearer and a stopper, and he'll put his body on the line. And I thought when he came on, I thought he did all right. He did okay. He read the game quite well, intercepted a couple of their players. Yeah, he did the simple stuff well, and I guess if he has to come into the side at the weekend, at least he's going to be slotting into a position that he is familiar with from his previous time.
Indeed, and Morsley was next to go off. Obviously, Wolfenden was struggling as well, but stayed on. Morsley then went off with what do you think? Was it a knee injury?
I guess so. It was a weird one because I didn't see any kind of challenge. We had a corner, didn't we? And suddenly he was sat down on the edge of the D, but he looked okay. And the physio came on and he didn't do anything to him. And they just had a bit of a chat with Burns standing next to him. Physio went off, so I kind of thought, maybe he's just knackered, or maybe it's a bit of gamesmanship and stuff. And the physio went off, and then the referee made Morsey go off with the physio. He gestures him back on, and then 30 seconds later he's down again. But he moved off quite freely when he got subbed for Carroll. He wasn't limping or anything, so I'm not sure what went on with that one. Hopefully that's just something pretty negligible, because he looked all right when he went off. He was moving freely, so fingers crossed that's not a bad one, because he's so crucial to where he plays. And I thought he was excellent with the ball again tonight, and having Backinson behind him allows him to make those runs forward, as we saw with the second goal when he's on the penalty spot, looking to slide it home. So he'd be a huge miss. I think he might be a slightly bigger miss than Edmondson. If you had to choose one of those two to be out, you'd want Morsey in that side.
Absolutely, he would. Tom Carroll came in for him, and he actually had some nice touches, but again, just such a different type of player. You feel like we really need Morsey.
You need the energy, don't you? You need the energy of Morsey to drive you up the pitch with the ball. Carroll's got a lot.
He's an all-rounder, isn't he? He's an all-round central midfielder for us at the moment. He's a box-to-box player. He is really good in possession. He can slow the game down, speed it up. The gamesmanship, the leadership. He's the captain. He's a massive miss.
Yeah, huge.
Probably, I'm struggling to think of another player that we'd miss as much.
Maybe Burns Walton, is the other one, isn't he? Burns, I guess, Burns or Walton.
Well.
Yeah, they're the two that are in that level. So yeah, hopefully he'll be okay. And fingers crossed, because it didn't look bad when he went off. So hopefully that's just a little one.
Okay. Then after putting in a decent tackle, Burns injured his ankle, seems to run it off. Hopefully that was just a bang, and he'll be okay for Saturday. Backinson, I thought, had a decent game, had an effort from distance, which the keeper has to save after he was teed up by Carroll. And Walter makes his first proper save in injury time. It was another good night for the goalkeeper in the defence, wasn't it, Seb?
It was, yeah. I mean, that's what I love about Walton. He did it at the weekend. He had nothing to do for the vast majority of the game, and when he needs to, he pulls out a save, a top-class save. So his concentration levels are absolutely phenomenal, and he just gives you so much confidence. And the whole of the back, that back four, the three centre-backs and him at the back, you're just so confident going into games that, we're not going to concede here. We're not going to be put under any kind of undue pressure, because they're all just so good in their individual roles and working as a unit.
Indeed. We'll just quickly look at the other League One results from tonight. And in the end, aside from Bolton losing, they didn't go our way. Crewe beaten Portsmouth winning 3-1 at Crewe. Milton Keynes Dons, comfortable winners against Cheltenham. I think they're gone now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Plymouth, solid win for them at home to Wimbledon. And Sunderland came from an Ellis Harrison goal behind to win 3-1. Looked like Fleetwood might be doing us a favour, but
yeah, that was the annoying one. They got 2 goals in the last 8 minutes, didn't they, to win that? So that's the frustrating one, because at that point the table was looking really, really good. So
this is how it stands. It's kind of as you were. We've obviously made some ground on Sheffield Wednesday and Wickham, and we're within shooting distance of the top 6 now. I think there's a few comments on this. Ashley Eldon, incredible how our league positions barely changed despite the great run. How far off the playoff places were we when Cook left?
We seem to have been in 9th for the entire, the last 6 months, don't we? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like Ashley says there, we've taken, I don't know what the points is now, 30 points or something under McKenna's time in charge. And yeah, we still haven't really, we've clawed the gap back, obviously. And if you look how far the likes of Sunderland were ahead of us at one point, I think they were 14, 15 points ahead of us with a game in hand. So we have clawed back on people. The trouble is everyone most weeks now, week in, week out, is just winning their games, aren't they?
They are. It's so frustrating, isn't it? There is a noticeable gulf between the top 10 teams now and the rest of the division. John, cup final on Saturday, biggest game of the season. It is. It's nice to have a big game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. God, when was the last time we had going into Easter, March, April time, and games were still meaningful? I know we had the relegation season, but we were all but down, and it's been years since we got to this time of the year, and things were still interesting. So it's going to be an absolutely huge game, and like I say, if we can beat them and keep them at arm's length, then they're going to be so confident going into Oxford away, aren't they?
Definitely, and if we don't, dare we say it, next season is the real quiz. That's what Pete Girls is saying. Had we deservedly won those 2 recent draws with Cheltenham and Morecambe, we'd be 6th. Still, unbelievable impact from McKenna. Anything this season is a bonus. 22-23 is the one. That's the real quiz.
You can't argue that at all, can you?
Can't argue with
frustrating to drop points, but yeah, if we do stay down and end up finishing on 75, 76 points and missing out by a couple, then going into the summer, we're all going to be so optimistic, aren't we?
Lee Renshaw, Selena and Luca are just so composed and bamboozle opponents. What do we think the chances are of them both being here come August?
Aluko, I think they'll trigger the option. I think they'd be silly not to. He seems to be a good character to keep around the place, and the level he's played at in the past, he's only going to be a benefit in the dressing room. Selena's an interesting one. For me, he's absolutely top class player, and if there's a deal to be done, then you do it. There's no money whatsoever in the French league, is there? So I don't think Dijon are going to want him back with his reported wage. So if you can get a sensible deal and the wages aren't too much, then surely you do it, because he is just a class above. We saw tonight again some of the touches and some of the weight of the pass, especially for Jackson, to release Jackson for that first goal. Did it at the weekend as well, the weight of the pass. Jackson hasn't got a break stride to score the goal. He's just a real class player, and I would really look to, hopefully, if there's a deal to be done and it's not silly money, then do it.
Do you think we might see him in the more withdrawn role again on Saturday?
I'm not sure against Portsmouth is the game to do it in. If it was all the way around, if we'd beaten Portsmouth tonight and we're going into a Lincoln game, then I'd say drop him back. But I think I'd be a bit concerned of a midfield duo of Backinson and Selena up against Portsmouth, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd probably go along with that. Daniel Hillman, bit of an assessment on tonight's game. Lincoln started as if they believed they could beat us at our own game, went 2 goals behind, and then they looked quite poor. I think, fair comment.
Daniel's nailed it there, hasn't he?
They were going for it, weren't they? And then sort of lost confidence when they went behind.
They were, yeah. I mean, I guess the fact it was the young keeper's debut, he looked very jittery with communication with his back line, especially at the start of the second half, and you could see their confidence just ebb away. And after we went 2-0, they offered very, very little, did they?
We've got some people who are at the game joining us now, Seb. That's the benefit of starting a little bit later. Kirk DeGiorgio. Hi, chaps. Just back from the match. Great 3 points. Backinson, my man of the match. Fair play to Lincoln. They got tighter and put the foot in second half, but were never really a threat. Yeah, Backinson starting to come strong, isn't he?
He did okay. Yeah, I was a bit frustrated in the first half with him, but as the game went on, I thought he got better and better. I think the trouble with him is that he's not. He looks like he should be a really physical player, given his size and his demeanor, and he's not necessarily like that. And he's one of those players when their running style and stuff is a bit sort of languid, and I think people associate that with maybe not busting a gut to get back. But I thought he grew into the game. The deep role clearly suits him. When he's got someone like Morsey alongside him, and he could be crucial now, because if Morsey were to be out with Evans out already, he's our only really sort of experienced, having played recently, central midfielder, isn't he? Because Carroll's been out for a while, and El Mazzuni keeps coming out in and out of the side.
Yeah, he's starting to look like a potentially big player. Bolton equalised late on, just doesn't really make much difference, does it?
No.
Their season's probably still alive, isn't it? But
yeah.
Only just. Please keep getting the questions and comments in. We've actually been joined by a Darlington fan. I didn't see that coming tonight, Seb.
No.
We were made bankrupt in 2011, reformed in 2012, demoted 4 leagues. We're currently a fan-owned National League North club, and we've had 3 promotions to date. That's fantastic, isn't it?
Phenomenal, yeah. And obviously some ex-players. Ian's put a comment just below that, listing some ex-players of ours who've,
Yeah, Jason DeVos, Billy Clark, Alan Armstrong. Yeah, and in that time, just so you know, Ian, we've made the Championship playoffs once and got relegated to League One. So Maybe puts it into perspective. Charlie D, that's awesome. Great effort. Backinson is superb at shielding the ball and is very temperate. Night Badger, yeah. He is
did
good.
That well tonight. Yeah, he did that well tonight, didn't he? Yeah, he did that well, and yeah, he could be a really big player. We've got an option to buy, haven't we, as part of the loan deal, I think. So we can't really lose. If he gets a decent run in the side and performs to a decent level, then I guess we'll look to make that permanent going into the summer.
Is there any news on Evans, Seb? Have you heard anything about?
No, it was a few weeks, wasn't it? He said it wasn't months; it's going to be weeks, and that must have been probably 2-3 weeks ago now. So maybe we're looking at the end of the month, sort of a potential return. Maybe assuming there's no setbacks or anything, I think we're still going to be 3-4 games away, maybe.
Lee Renshaw, the next game under the lights at Portman Road could be a playoff semi. Yeah,
it could be. Yeah, it's the last night game. It feels very early to finish the last night game of the season. I know there's games now for the next 2 weeks for all the sides that have got games in hand to start ticking them off. But last year it felt like we had a midweek game every week because of the shorter season. So it's strange to have it finished by the first week of March. But yeah, wouldn't that be great if we could gate crash the playoffs and have one of those Bolton style night under the lights at Portman? It would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh. Doesn't bear thinking about at the moment. That'd be fantastic. Michael Warner, I'm glad that the players were a lot calmer than me when we passed the ball around in tight situations at the back. Have you got used to this style of play now, Seb? Do you have a bit more faith in them?
Yeah, it's the norm now, isn't it? I mean, I thought when I was at Fleetwood at the weekend, I thought the pitch would have meant that they would kind of drop that a little bit and look to go away from it because it wasn't a surface to do it on. But they did it all game. And to be fair, since McKenna's taken over, I can't think of too many times where we've messed it up or got it wrong. It's the norm now, isn't it? And like so many things since he's come in, things have become the norm, and we just seem to be really comfortable doing them. And long may it continue because it's great to watch at the moment, isn't it?
It is fantastic to watch. Chris Horn asked, though, will we change the formation if we're without Fridge, Morsey, and possibly Wolfenden? I think it'd probably force a hand, wouldn't it?
You'd have to, yeah.
Beyond Burgess, who are we talking about as a central defender?
You're into Elkin Baggett's and stuff, aren't you, from the under-23s and stuff? So, yeah, if you were to lose Edmondson and Wolfenden, then you've got to change the system. I'm not entirely sure how good Danassian would be in a back two either. He strikes me as, a back three kind of player. So you'd have to change something round and, yeah, have Burgess and Danassian, I guess, would be your centre-back options. But you definitely have to do a formation change then.
Yeah, I remember seeing Danassian play centre-back in a back two partnership against Blackburn in the opening day of the season.
Yeah, I remember that. Spence was at right back, wasn't he? And Danassian looked really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. When Green Edwards scored after 2 minutes and we all thought it was going to be so good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had a tear in my eye because I thought it was all going to come good, yeah. Andrew Pearson, who would you like to see on the bench if Morsey and Edmondson are not available to provide more cover? Do you think it might be an opportunity for Baggett to make a matchday squad?
Maybe, or I guess you've got Penny and Vincent Young out in the wilderness at the moment, haven't you? I mean,
yeah.
Thompson's very much a left back. He's not necessarily a left wing back, so I don't know if he could slot inside and play that left-sided role of the back three, and then maybe you look to bring in Penny or Vincent Young as an option there. But from a centre half point of view, it would have to be Baggett's, wouldn't it? Because there's nobody else. If Morsey is out, then I'm assuming Carroll comes into that role, maybe alongside Backinson. He'll be definitely starting, and I guess El Mazzuni works his way back onto the bench for the Portsmouth game.
Yeah, I think we'll see El Mazzuni back. Gary Hazeman, really competent performance, class from Teddy Bishop after the final whistle. I'm going to presume that he went and applauded the Ipswich fans. He didn't come on tonight, did he?
No, presumably, yeah, he went over and said his goodbyes. One of the bomb squad, wasn't he, under Paul Cook? So I guess it's nice for him to get that moment. Although he didn't get to get on the pitch, it's nice for him to get that moment and say goodbye to the club properly.
So just looking ahead to Saturday, Seb, how confident are you now? Because if I'd have asked you how confident you were, let's rewind to half time of tonight's match. How confident were you going into Saturday's game at that stage?
Yeah, very. We were playing really, really well. I was watching it with a couple of mates on Zoom, and we were all saying, okay, so if we can get a second goal in the first 10 minutes of the half, then you look to take a couple of players off And my mate Mark said Morsey would be one he'd take off just to rest for a little bit. And I said to take off Jackson and, you know, give him a bit of a break and stuff. And yeah, that would have been the game plan. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, did it? I'm still confident, though, even, you know, if all three are missing, then that's going to be a big ask because all three are so crucial to the way that we play. Hopefully Burns is okay. I think if there are any doubts with Burns, surely he wouldn't have come back on after getting the treatment. He'd have just stayed on and we'd have played the last 10 minutes or so with 10 men. Morsey hopefully looked okay because he just walked off and seemingly all right, but we might have to get used to Edmondson being out potentially, I guess. But I'm still confident because we're on such a great run of form. We're still playing really, really well, and you know we can bring on a player like Aluko into the side tonight who has an absolute stormer. And those bench options that we've got, you know, Norwood, Bonn, and Piggott don't get on the pitch tonight. Chaplin only comes on for the last few minutes or so. We've got so many options in the squad that the form we're in, I think we should be looking to go into every game confident these days.
Absolutely. Do you think Luco will start on Saturday? Because he played so well tonight, but he quite often dips in and out, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. I think he deserves to after tonight. I think he played really, really well. But then that's going to be harsh on somebody like Chaplin against his old side, because when we played at Fratton Park, he was absolutely superb, wasn't he? So, you know, this front three is going to keep chopping and changing. I'd say Jackson and Selena are nailed on starters at the moment because Jackson's pace causes teams so many problems, and you know he's so good at running those channels, and when he gets in those positions 9 times out of 10 his decision making is very, very good. Selena at the moment is looking classy, you know, the weight of his passing, the space he's finding, he's looking really, really good. And then I guess it's a toss up then for the other front three or other number 10 option. But after tonight I would start Aluko because I thought he was absolutely superb. I know he hasn't got many goals and many assists, but
yeah, he doesn't. You know, he doesn't fill up the stat sheet like Chaplin does he? But
yeah,
I think he offers quite a lot more in the more central areas of the pitch, doesn't he?
Absolutely, yeah, and no matter where he's on the pitch, no matter how many players he's got around him, no matter the pace of the ball that he receives, he never gives the ball away, does he? You know, he'll always get himself out of trouble and stuff, and he's a great outlet, a class player, and I would have him starting.
And do you know the tune to this one, Seb? Can you sing this one for us? Ipswich, wake me up before you go. Who needs Messi when you've got Aluko? It's a shame that one hasn't really caught on. I heard that Sonny Aluko again tonight.
Yeah, I've heard that, the Sonny Aluko one. So no, that'd be great if we could get that one up and running. I thought he might join us tonight, Rich. I thought he might make another dash up the hill and jump on like he did after the last reaction show.
He's
having a gentle stroll,
making his Horlicks. Dennis Sullivan. I hope I'm hoping this is Suffolk pessimism from Dennis. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm more concerned with Burns being out as these past injuries came off what seemed to be nothing too serious in the game. Yeah, I guess.
I mean that's the problem.
Just don't know, do you? Because it looked like an impact injury. His ankle could swell up, and then it's whether the swelling comes down enough for him to play. And you think with all the sports science involved now, you feel like players are going off with big knocks. It's not like the days of Matt Holland where they'd just be sent to Brightlingsea Beach for a dip in the sea. Yeah,
get to Craig's neck of the woods.
They're not going to play, are they? Even though it is Portsmouth.
Yeah, no. If there's any doubts, he'll be classified in the red or the amber zone, wouldn't it? You know, and we'll have to look to bring somebody else in. I guess it will help now that this is our last 3-game week, isn't it? You know, we're now going to be playing on the weekends consistently, so players will get that extra bit of recovery time after Saturday. Some of the guys are now starting to put comments in. I'm guessing we've had a bit of a comment from McKenna, and they're starting to say some of the injuries and stuff. It looks like Edmondson's got a swollen ankle, and they're saying hamstring potentially for Morsey. So that would be a concern, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If that's
if he's just tweaked it, because he was moving off freely, wasn't he? Maybe he's just tweaked it, in which case it's only going to be a few weeks rather than.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's pulled it, he's out for the season. It didn't look like he pulled it, given the way he went off. But yeah, if it is a hamstring, I'd say he's now going to be very, very doubtful for Saturday.
Yeah, that's if it's the least serious hamstring injury, that would be 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Which what 3 games are they?
I know, yeah, the absolute worst time of the season it could be. But I guess, you know, it's a chance now for somebody to come in if he is going to be out and look to really make that position their own. I guess McKenna will have to have a think and see. Backinson will now be nailed on to be the defensive one, you know, for the next 3 games. And he's going to have to decide if he wants the the deeper lying play from Tom Carroll and the classy left foot. However, you might find that he can't last the 90 minutes, and maybe up against a more physical midfield, he might start to struggle. Or does he drop, like we said, maybe drop Selena back there like he did against Fleetwood and look to go from there? But I think that would be a big risk against 3 top-class sides we're about to face.
Indeed. Chris Horn, you've got to think McKenna is the type of manager who is training the defensive players to fill the roles in case of injury. I'm confident we can outplay Pompey. Love the confidence, and yeah, perhaps I am sort of stuck in the negative frame of mind of previous managers where you just think, well, if you're missing your best players, you're not going to win.
No, potentially, yeah, maybe we see it with the front 3, don't we? I guess the performance levels don't really drop from game to game when we rotate the front 3. So there's no reason to think that couldn't be applicable in other areas of the pitch. Is that, whoever comes in will know exactly what's expected of them. We've been playing a certain way now for since Christmas time with McKenna being in. So you'd like to think that any new replacements will know exactly what they need to be doing. And I agree we can outplay Pompey because some of our football at the moment is absolutely superb.
Indeed, and dose of reality here from Bits. Guessing Bits was at the game tonight, guys. Just enjoy the fact that we're still in the hunt because 2 years ago we played Coventry and lost, and then it was all over. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We did say that we're excited about going to the Portsmouth game on Saturday and it meaning something, and we quite often get to this stage of the season it's already over. So yeah, we are enjoying it, and this is good news. Neil Johnson, Portsmouth top goal scorer, is still suspended for Saturday.
He got sent off on the weekend, didn't he, Harness? So he's not going to be around. So that's a big plus. Obviously, me and Rich will do the pre-match. We're going live, I think, on Friday night. It's a big game, so we decided we're going to do a live one. So everyone tune in, and we'll give all the lowdown on Portsmouth and what they're likely to be doing given their suspensions and injuries.
Excellent. So yeah, that's the pre-match show with Rich and Seb, and you'll be in the Greyhound on Saturday, I presume, as well.
Yep. I'm heading back, so we'll be in the Greyhound. I think Dave's there. And are you coming along? Are you back this weekend?
I am back this weekend. I might not make it to the Greyhound, okay. But yeah, I'll be at the game. I think it might be a full house for Blue Monday. Hopefully Harry from Bath's there as well. Gary Haseman thought Backinson played his best game for us tonight, which is good news for Saturday.
Yeah, he grew into the role in the game. I was a bit frustrated with him in the first half, but second half he did well. Got forward with that shot at the end as well. So he's still not afraid to have a go from distance. Obviously, he had the one against Morecambe a couple of weeks ago as well. So he's going to be a big player. If Morsey is out now for the next 3 games, then Backinson's going to be a big player for us.
Indeed, he is. Michael Warner, do you feel Jackson has taken over from Bond, Norwood, and Piggott as our main striker?
Well, he's the only one in form, isn't he? So, of those 4, he's the one at the moment getting the goals, 2 in 2. And I guess he's got that raw attribute of the pace, which none of those other players, they're not slouchy, the other players, but they haven't got that explosive pace over 5 or 10 yards like Jackson has. And it's such a good, useful weapon to have when he runs the channels and looks to bring the ball and cut it back for players running into the box. So at the moment, I think he is. And what a turnaround, He was out the door in the summer. We triggered the option. I presume they wanted to try and sell him. Didn't get anything for him. He played a handful of EFL Cup games and stuff, and he scored a couple of goals. And McKenna clearly really likes him, and he's seen something in him, and it's fully deserved. And I think it gives a great message as well to other players in the squad. No matter how far behind things you think you might be, if you work hard in training, if you're a good egg in the dressing room and stuff, then you will get your chances. And I'm really happy for him that he's taken them. I mean, this is his 4th season with us now, isn't it? He came on a big money move in the Championship in a poor side. We had the first year down at this level where him and Norwood had that great partnership, and he got, was it half a dozen goals and a load of assists, and last season in and out of the side with injuries and form and fallouts with the manager and stuff. So I'm happy for him this year, and I think we will probably see him around next year as well. I think McKenna likes him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets maybe a year with a year's option as part of the squad for next year.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It definitely didn't seem likely even a month ago, did it?
No, exactly. Happen. Yeah, he was miles away.
He scored in the Pizza Cup, didn't he? And we didn't even blink. We just thought, well, he's still not going to play.
Yeah, no, and I think he came off the bench a couple of times in the FA Cup games, and we kind of thought he's done. He might get the odd run out here and there, but I assumed when they triggered the option last summer in the mass clear out, I assumed they only did that to try and get some value for him, and if they'd had an offer, they would have flogged him. But for whatever reason, you know, he kept his head down, he's worked hard, and he's having the rewards of it now. And that pace is absolutely crucial because, you know, when you've got the likes of Morsey breaking forward, and more so Selena with his ability to pick a pass and put the perfect weight on the ball. But Jackson's asset is a massive, massive pace running in behind. And yeah, long may it continue. At the moment, I think he's the first choice of those four.
He is indeed. And Nathan Hall, he's in Melbourne, by the way. Got to see the Caden Jackson goal tonight because his nephew video called him from the ground. He managed to see it. That's fantastic, and so 2022 that you were able to do that. Julie F, different opinion here. Fancy Chaplin playing a big role against Pompey Saturday as he did at Fratton Park, obviously against his old side. Hoping he gets the start. Sorry.
But then who are you going to drop out? You know, he's going to have to come into that front three unless you drop Selena back alongside Backinson in midfield.
Or you put Aluko back into midfield.
Maybe, yeah, potentially. But you're going to have to. If you don't do that, then you're going to have to drop one of those front three. And maybe the more I think about it, I know when you asked me a few minutes ago, I was thinking against Portsmouth, that's a big, big risk. But you know, we've got to win these games. We've got to go for it. There's not overly that much point being conservative. Do you maybe just risk it and do it? Because Selena did okay in that role against Fleetwood. It was just the fact that Morsey was negated with his getting forward role, but neither Carroll nor Backinson are really going to look to do that. So perhaps maybe with the insurance policy of Backinson, you can fit Chaplin and Aluko behind Jackson and really look to go for it.
Definitely. So yeah, talk me through your 11. Obviously, you'll get to do this again in the pre-match show, but as it stands.
So are we assuming that Morsey and Edmondson are going to be out?
I think we can safely assume that Morsey's definitely out. But
yeah, and Edmondson's ankle doesn't sound great, does it? So I mean, goalkeeper-wise, Walton's obviously going to start. Burns and Thompson are going to be your full-backs, and then you're going to have Danasian, Wolfenden, and Burgess as the back three. Oh, he has made it. How you doing? Oh, he's doing his sound. Okay, I'll carry on. Backinson's going to have to play now. He's going to be crucial in that defensive screening central midfield role. One of Carroll or Selena alongside him, and then depending what you do there, the front three, Jackson should definitely start. Aluko for me after tonight will definitely start. Selena should definitely start either in the deeper role or in the front three. And if he's the one that drops back, then yeah, by all means bring in Chaplin. But again, that is harsh on Piggott because he played really well against Fleetwood and suddenly he can't get back into the side. So it's great to have options. I mean, God, how many times did we sit here last season and talk about how Ollie Hawkins was going to come in to replace Aaron Drinan, and we were tearing our hair out. So it's great to have these options and be able to have these conversations. And it's up to somebody to come in now and make the difference and hold on to the shirt, I guess.
Indeed. Well, welcome to the show, Rich. How was tonight? Big crowd, decent atmosphere.
Yeah, the last few Tuesdays have been a little flat at times, and it's taken a little bit of energy from section 6 to rile up the north stand so that it's noisy. But second half was much better, and it just feels like a win tainted by extras from platoon kind of situation. I don't know whether we've heard any post-match reaction to, because obviously Burns kept going, and we know that he's got an injury. I think Seb may have said that earlier on. Morsey's obviously a concern, though. We had 4 games without him and did okay. And Burgess came on, and he's that orthodox left-sided centre-back playing in the left-side position. So
yeah, it's a square peg in a square hole, isn't it? Isn't it that one? Sounds like Morsey's going to be out for a few weeks at least, though, because he's done his hamstring. Edmondson's an ankle, but that one was obvious.
Right.
I don't think we've heard anything on Burns unless anyone can smarten us up.
No,
those of you out there who are listening,
it's just a shame, isn't it?
It's just tainted it, hasn't it? Yeah, it's tainted
the guy I stand next to said, kind of, we never get nice things at Ipswich. There's always some kind of twist in the tail or something like that to get us back down to earth. And obviously everyone pretty much won. I think Bolton when I left were losing, but it was in added time. But
they got a late equaliser.
Do they? Yeah, no surprise. So yeah, it's just, we just have to keep doing what we're doing, don't we? And I think I was turned the corner and heard Seb say we shouldn't be fearing playing anyone at the moment. And I think that's the right way to be about it. And we can only care about our results now. And as long as we keep winning, teams have got to play each other, as we were talking about in the Flagship on Sunday. We've just got to hope for some teams to drop points. And there will be a team that goes on a really streaky, bad run and we just need to keep winning to make sure we can take advantage.
Absolutely, and if we don't, Bit says champions next season. So
There you go,
we've got that to fall
Bits.
back on, haven't we?
Yeah, there's your silver lining.
Yeah, got the positivity back. Just hope it doesn't all fall flat on Saturday.
No, I'm confident. It's got a big game feel, and I know how many times we've sat here over the years and said that we don't turn up for big games, but everything just feels different now under McKenna, doesn't it? You know, we're playing so well, we're defending so well. Okay, we might have the issue of a couple of injuries and big players missing from the team, but the run we're on, the form we're in, we shouldn't be fearing anybody.
Agree. Yeah,
Definitely
I guess
not.
we need to find the weaknesses in Pompey on the pre-match, don't we, Seb?
Indeed, yeah. I'll start the research tomorrow. Obviously, the top scorer is missing, which is a huge benefit. But yeah, let's make sure for once we deliver in a big game, and then if we could win that and get the mythical 3 on a bounce, then going into Oxford away and Plymouth at home, then we could really look to fly up the table.
Yep,
big games. The flagship show will be back, of course, that'll be out Monday morning as well. That's going to be Ben, Joe, and Craig. So an all-star lineup for a big flagship show. We're all getting a run out this week.
Apart from Dave.
Yeah. Rested. Dave's the Aluko of the...
Exactly right.
The podcast.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't mind that comparison. But yeah, any last words from either of you before we call it a night? Gary Haseman says Goodison Park next year, anyone?
Wow, yeah. I mean, blimey.
What's going on there? Yeah, crazy, isn't it? I assumed that Lampard would come in, galvanise and move up, but they're in real danger. And aren't they one of the ever presents? I'm sure they've never been outside
from
of
the Premier League era.
From the Premier League, yeah. So yeah, they could well go down. That'd be a great away day, wouldn't it?
I think we need to get promoted first, but I think they are Nathan. What a super sticker!
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you very much.
Nathan's one of the Aussie contingent.
$7.99 in Australian dollar dues.
Brilliant. We'll buy some Castlemaine 4X.
Yeah, before we go, if everyone could like this video on YouTube and just in the comments, we'll quickly put them up. Put your score predictions for Saturday. I'm going to go for 1-1, and I think I'd probably take that at this stage.
Yeah, there's mitigating circumstances now given those injuries, aren't there? So I can understand where you're coming from there, Mikey. I think it may be that there might be goals in it. I'll go for a 2-2. I agree with you that I think it will be a draw, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope we win it, and I hope Seb's right that we turn up and and this is the run of games against teams that we need to beat, and we actually, for once, do it. And we know no more Lambert-itis when it comes to teams in the top 6.
I'm more confident than you guys. I'm going to agree with Padger, Knight, Badger there. I think we're going to win 2-1. And I think it'll be an absolutely epic springboard going into Oxford and Plymouth. I'm really confident. But I have said that before on these shows, and sometimes it comes back to bite me. So I am confident 2-1, I reckon.
You've done a lot of caveating of stuff. The prefix for this.
3-2.
Yeah, we had a Seb saying if it's 0-0 tonight, don't blame me on Twitter earlier. So
well, I was the curse, wasn't I? For so many of these pre-game, post-reaction games, it was always a 0-0. So I made a vow that if it was a 0-0 tonight, I'd never put my hands forward to do one of these pre-match, post-match shows again. So thankfully that curse has been lifted, and hopefully we can lift our big game curse on the weekend.
I like Gary's prediction there. Sully, there you go. Sorry, Mikey, I'm just making you flip back and forth.
Yeah, Sully says 3-1. Our squad can bear a few injuries. Yeah, that's what the big squad is for, and McKenna's sort of said that all along, hasn't he? That that's what the squad is there for.
Big opportunity for someone.
Yeah. Good to finish on a positive. After it was another positive.
We won.
We looked after what we could look after. The injuries happened, but nobody's to blame for that. Got another win prediction for Saturday. 2-0 Town, keeping a clean sheet and taking all 3 points.
We like that, Chris. Yeah. Yep. Fingers crossed, eh?
Fingers crossed, indeed. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and putting your questions and comments in. Thank you very much, Seb. Rich, well done. You're really getting your cardio in. This chasing home from Portman Road. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and all of that stuff. And yeah, see you next time. Upper Town.